Hi, amazing viewers. Welcome to Christianity over Islam with Shamoun. And on today's debate, Shamoun smashes Muslims, apologists, and prove Muhammad is a false prophet. Let's watch this amazing debate.
You said that Muhammad preached the worship of the one God. Okay, now, Leviticus 26 verse 1, and I want you to address this. Leviticus 26 verse 1, God condemns anyone who would take sacred stones and venerate them. According to your sound tradition, which is part of your Umrah and your Hajj, Muhammad made it mandatory that if you're able to, when you perform the pilgrimage, the lesser or the greater pilgrimage, to kiss the black stone and to smother it and weep upon it. So here's my challenge to you from the very Deuteronomy and the Pentateuch you referred to. You're saying, so he preached the worship of the one God. Can you show me anywhere in the Pentateuch or Deuteronomy where God says part of my worship includes kissing a black stone, smothering it, weeping on it as an act of devotion to me, when Leviticus 26:1 says anyone who does that is condemned to hell? So can you show me that in the Pentateuch to show that Muhammad complies with the very criteria, the general criteria you appeal to?
All right, I'm just writing my response. So, all right, Leviticus. Okay, so about this black stone kissing and stuff like that, Muslims, the proper one would kiss it to respect it, or things like that. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean Muslims worship it. He kissed it to respect it. Not where even Umar bin Khattab. I know you know that hadith. Umar bin Khattab said, "I'm only kissing you because I saw the Prophet Muhammad kissing you." He kissed it to respect, or he kissed it to respect it, not to worship it. It doesn't. And another thing is, most Muslims wouldn't even do that. It's not even a compulsory act to go to Kaaba and kiss the black stone. We have 1.6 billion Muslims or something like that. Most Muslims won't even go to Hajj, first of all, and most Muslims wouldn't even do that. So that's not even a compulsory act on us. So you kiss it to respect it, not to worship it. So Sam Shamoun, if you kiss your wife, does that mean you worship her? No, you're just doing it to respect her, right? Well, I hope so, but yeah,
let me address that. The Bible tells me to show affection to my wife, but condemns me to show affection to stones. So you're attacking strawman again and throwing out a red herring. So let me repeat my challenge again. I can show you in the Bible where God tells me to show love and devotion and affection to my wife because she's a living, breathing being. But the same Bible that tells me to do that condemns me for showing reverence to a stone that neither benefits nor harms, that's inanimate. So I'm going to try it again. You can say it's not worship, and you can say it's not compulsory, but your greatest example is Muhammad, and he's an example for you to follow. The man that you say is a prophet like Moses. So I'm going to try it again. You can explain it away and say it's not worship. He's just showing it respect. I was clear. The true God of Moses did not allow the Israelites to take a stone and show it that kind of respect and veneration. So if Muhammad is a prophet like Moses, then that means he's going to worship God the way Moses did. So I'm going to try it again. Can you show me where the God of Moses said you can take a stone, a sacred stone, a stone of any kind, show it respect? It won't be worship, show it respect, and in doing that, you'll be honoring me because this is something that I endorse, this is something I condone. When Leviticus 26:1 condemns anyone who would show any type of respect to an inanimate stone like your prophet did. So that didn't address my objection, and to correct you again. Whereas the Bible does say show affection to living, animate beings like my wife and children, it condemns showing such affection to an inanimate stone. Even the example of Umar proved my point. Even Umar didn't understand the logic. He went to kiss it and he said, I know you're a stone that neither harms nor benefits. Had I not seen the messenger of Allah do it, I would not have done it. So he's baffled. I don't know why he did it, but hey, he's the prophet and I have to follow his example. But that example condemned Umar to hell. So I'm going to ask you again. You said Muhammad taught the worship of the same true God that Moses commanded. But the God of Moses condemned venerating stones. Can you now respond to that instead of red herrings and strawmen?
Well, like I said, it's not a compulsory act on Muslims. It was just some random thing the Prophet Muhammad did. Like, we know the Prophet Muhammad didn't like eating lizards. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. It's not like it's not a compulsory act, right? Islam's based on 5 pillars, none of which talk about going and kissing the black stone. So it's just a random thing he did. It's not a compulsory. If it was a compulsory act, I would agree with you, right? If the Prophet Muhammad said you have to do it in order to stay a Muslim, then I would agree with you. But it's just a random thing he did, that has no bearing on us. Like, we know the Prophet Muhammad didn't like eating lizards. We know the Prophet Muhammad wore sandals. We don't have to do those things. He was just there were just things at that specific time, at that specific place for specific reasons. So it's not a compulsory act. If it was a compulsory act, then yes, I would agree with you, but it's not a compulsory act. So that's the issue. I mean, you kiss your wife.
This is the place where this video get more interesting. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do it to subscribe. Let's keep watching this video.
So does that mean you worship her? So I mean, the logic doesn't follow. But we can move on to other things.
Let me make a final point on this. Just one final, Dave, because he said it's not compulsory. You said there are 5 compulsory acts. Now, Ittisham, you and I both know. One of the 5 compulsory acts is Hajj Pilgrimage. You must, if you can afford it, at least once in your lifetime, make a pilgrimage to Mecca. You're supposed to run around it 7 times, and then run between Safa and Marwa 7 times, throw stones at Wadi Mina, and kiss the black stone. So part of one of your 5 compulsory acts is that you must either touch the stone or kiss the stone if you can, but if there's a large crowd you can't, at least try to symbolize that you're touching it. So even what you said, one of your 5 compulsory acts is pilgrimage. Part of the rites of pilgrimage is, if you can, if the crowd is not too large, kiss the black stone and touch it, which is why Omar had to do it, because his prophet did it. So no, it is compulsory. And you said, if it's compulsory, I'd agree with you. So that means now you agree with me, Muhammad is condemned as an idolater. You said Muhammad claimed that he did preach and worship the same God that the Jews and Christians believed in. He can make that claim all day, all night. Mormons make the same claim. Mormons tell Christians and Jews, we worship the God of the Old Testament. But when you press the Mormon, to them, God the Father was a man who became God, who has a physical body, and 2 of his children are Jesus and Lucifer, who are brothers. They can claim that they worship the God of the Bible all day, all night, but their view of God shows they're not worshiping the God of the Bible. So Muhammad can claim all day, all night that he's worshiping the God of the Bible, but he contradicts. Number 1, again, that God is a father to his people. The Quran says Allah is a father to no one. Well, right there, he can't be the God of Moses, because let me repeat what Moses said. Deuteronomy 14 verse 1 to the Israelites, you are the sons and daughters of the living God. What did Moses say? Deuteronomy 32:6, Jehovah who begot you, who produced you. What did he say in Deuteronomy 32:8? The God who gave you birth, the rock who beget you, which directly flies in the face of lam yalid wa lam yulad, because Moses' God does beget spiritually, not physically. So no, it's not the same God. And then let's go back to what I said. The angel of the Lord, because the word malach in Hebrew, which we translate angel, doesn't mean a creature necessarily. It means a messenger sent with a message from God. This messenger calls himself God, claims to do what only God can do. He is worshipped as God by those who see him, and they recognize that this is God sent by God. And then the Spirit of God, Ruach Elohim, Genesis 1 verse 2, is there overseeing the superintendence of the earth, making it habitable. And to confirm it, Job 33 verse 4 plainly states that the Spirit of God has made me. The Spirit of God has made me. That's the Jewish Bible. And the breath of the Almighty gives me life. So the Old Testament agrees with the New Testament on these areas. New Testament agrees with the Old Testament, but contradicts the Quran. Now let me use your own argument against Paul to show that you just condemned Muhammad as a false prophet. You said he contradicts the Old Testament. Deuteronomy 24 verses 1 to 4. Deuteronomy 24. I'm just going to give you a few where Muhammad fails the test miserably, showing that if Muhammad was around at the time of Moses, he'd be stoned as a false prophet. There it states that when a man divorces a woman and she marries someone else, and the second husband divorces her or dies, she cannot go back to her first husband, because that would be an abomination, something detestable to the God of Moses. Lo and behold, your prophet who's supposed to be like Moses, in Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 230. When a man irrevocably divorces a woman, he cannot take her back until she marries another. And according to Hadith, the man has to taste her sweetness, her honey. And when he divorces her, she can return to her husband. And the man who makes her lawful is known as muhallil. So Ittisham, Deuteronomy condemns your prophet as being detestable and abomination, disgusting to the God of Moses. Because let me repeat, Ittisham, you want to use the criteria to convince Christians? Christians are not convinced. Muhammad fails miserably. Let me repeat again. Deuteronomy 24, verses 1 to 4. It says, if a man divorces a woman and that woman marries another, she cannot go back to her first husband if the second divorces her or dies. But your God, who you say is the God of Moses, says, if a man divorces a woman irrevocably, she can only go back when she marries someone else who then tastes her honey sweetness and then divorces her. And that's why it's called muhallal, the one who makes her halal, lawful. So the God of Moses says, Muhammad, you are despicable, you are detestable, you're an abomination. And if you're living at the time of the theocracy of Moses, you would have been stoned as a false prophet. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. I know you don't believe the Bible, that's fine. But you're appealing to us, saying, here's your criteria. And I'm saying, sorry, that criteria goes right back at you and condemns Muhammad as a false prophet.
Okay, welcome back. Hope you've learned from this amazing debate. Please do it to like, subscribe to our YouTube channels, and share to your loved ones. As you can see in this debate, this Muslim man claimed to say that kissing of the black stone is not compulsory. And Sam gave him proof that was written in the Quran that at least or once in your lifetime you should go to Mecca and go and kiss the black stone. If people are much, at least touch the black stone just to cleanse away your sins. And Sam started by letting him to know in the book of Leviticus, it was not acknowledged by God that we should cherish or worship any other creature that he has created. Because if you study the book of Leviticus, he made it clear that no man shall worship any other god except him, that he is a jealous God. Sam asked him, have you read the Bible? He said yes. And he said, have you ever come to notice or Jesus or God said it's allowed for us to worship anything that is alive or around us? And the Muslim man tried to claim to Sam and told Sam that if you kissed your wife or do anything to your wife, does that mean you worship your wife? And Sam told him that whenever you worship is different from what he's saying. That when you go to Mecca, if you study the Quran very well, what Muhammad was saying is that you should go to Mecca, go around the black stone. After worshiping the stone, if you can't touch this stone, at least if you can't kiss this stone, at least you must touch it. Does that not mean you are worshiping the stone? And the Muslim man kept silent. And Sam gave him proofs that Muhammad is a false prophet. And Sam told him that it was written in the Quran, a woman that is divorced can marry another man. A woman that is divorced can marry another man. And if the man needs the woman back, that means the man that married the divorced woman can still have a taste, the sweetness of the divorced woman before marrying the woman. And Sam said to him, I wish Prophet Muhammad is in the time of Moses, they could have stoned him to death. So Sam asked him, how did all these things that is written in the Quran and is written in the Bible, how do they correspond? And the Muslim man kept quiet. And Sam told him that your Muhammad definitely is in hell. Hope you've learned from this amazing video. Please do it to like, subscribe to our YouTube channels, and share to your loved ones, especially your Muslim friends that haven't found out the truth about their prophet Muhammad.